The one-arm handstand is arguably one of the hardest bodyweight exercises you could possibly do. It takes an incredible amount of strength, balance, and overall body control in order to actually pull this move off. Now, I spent the last 30 days trying to practice this every single day just to see how much progress I could make, and this is how it went. All right, one-arm handstand, day number 1. I don't remember the last time I tried this, but it's never going well. I just feel like I'm twisting a lot instead of actually like shifting over. That was just on my left side. Try one on my right, but I feel very unstable doing it that way. No. Only 29 more to go. Let's do it. Day number 1, I am twisting all over the place here. I really can't hold too much of a shape, and this is a pretty consistent theme throughout the first bit of my practice. So I started looking up some good one-arm handstand exercises and progressions, things like that, because unlike the handstand push-up, I didn't want to just jump right into learning a brand new move, just trying to do a one-arm handstand every single day without any lead up. So I did find a few really good exercises, and these are some of the first ones that I found. So the first exercise that I found that looked really interesting was more of a balancing act, transferring your weight from side to side, and that's pretty much what I'm doing here. So as you can see, I can't go super far over either shoulder yet, but at this point I am getting a little bit of practice transferring weight over each arm. I think the first thing that I need to start with is not jumping straight into it like I did with my handstand push-ups, but instead breaking it down. Today I'm just trying to get started working on my weight shift side to side, see what I can do with that. Now, even just after a few attempts here, it's pretty clear to me that my dominant side was going to be my left arm, and that's pretty much the only side I end up training for the rest of this video. Usually I would recommend practicing on both sides to keep things equal. However, since I only had 30 days for this experiment, I decided to just put 100% of my focus onto the one side that I felt a bit more confident and see how much progress I could do. Now the second exercise is this. I call them a little palm lift. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm lifting the heel of my hand up off the ground and setting it back down very quickly because I don't have enough balance to hold it up, but that's just getting me to unweight one arm a little bit more than the balance act. Those are the main 2 exercises I stuck with throughout the duration of the 30 days, and I just progressed them from there. So I unfortunately didn't take too many video clips from the side, so you couldn't really see the amount of twisting that I was doing every time, but most of my early to mid attempts, I'm twisting a lot out of it. I'm not staying in a frontal plane, right? I'm kind of twisting, pivoting on my shoulder. So I did end up using a wall for a little bit of help too, which was pretty good. I do recommend using this, especially if you're lacking a lot of upper body strength or you can't hold yourself in a handstand yet. This is a great way to practice. So I spent a lot of time practicing those palm lifts, and eventually once I started to feel more comfortable with it, I would try to get even the first knuckle of my fingers off the ground. So I'm going up onto my fingertips and back down. I think this is about the only clip from this side view that I ended up taking, so I hope you guys enjoyed it because you probably won't be seeing it again. So anyways, the progress was quite slow at this point. This is a really difficult skill, but more and more I was able to transfer my weight over one shoulder, and you can see in my later attempts, my weight distribution looks a lot better, like I'm getting it over the top of my shoulder. Now this was one of my better attempts right there. I was able to just get to 2 fingers. Again, it was just for a couple seconds, but still really proud of that. Same thing here, just getting up to the fingertips, trying to balance for a second or 2. this was also a pretty cool attempt because I ended up just poking one finger down, which again, I wasn't able to hold it obviously, but it was just a cool feeling knowing that I could actually take off my entire hand. Now, I will say that over the course of this 30-day challenge, it was not actually a consecutive 30 days because I got so frustrated during the middle of this. It was way harder than the handstand push-up challenge. This is definitely more difficult than I was expecting, and because I got so frustrated, I kept just giving up periodically, so I would take days off in between. I just didn't feel like training it because I wasn't making any progress. It was a really big deterrent for me. I'd say the process of this entire video spanned over the course of 2 to 3 months. I feel like I probably would have done a bit better if I was stayed more consistent, but hey, this is pretty much how it turned out. So day 30, here we are at the end. This video clip, you can't really see my legs unfortunately, but you can see I actually was able to balance on one hand for several seconds, which was probably my best attempt in terms of like air time, quote unquote. The technique wasn't the best, but I was able to keep my hand off the floor. And then of course we have my wonderful fiance who wanted to star in the video and show off her one-arm handstand skills. So this was without any warm-up whatsoever. She just went right into it, and it's basically as good as mine. And I've spent the last like 2 to 3 months trying to do this. So now in all fairness, she was a gymnast for like 15 years. Anyways, this is probably my overall best attempt. This is right from the end. You can see my hands and feet in frame. I was super proud of that one. Again, technique needs a lot of work, but I think for 30 days, it's not too bad. And if we look at the clips side by side here from day number 1 to day number 30, you can definitely see a lot of progress. I'll give you a quick little breakdown of some of the main points that I was trying to focus on. The first of all is getting my straddle over to the other side. And you can definitely see a big improvement in that on day number 30. My legs are a lot more leveled to my left side. And the other big thing too, because the leg movement is good to get your lower body weight distributed, but the biggest thing I think for me was learning how to actually shift my weight over my shoulder, because the legs is good and it'll kind of tilt you in the right direction, but without actually learning how to close that one shoulder down a bit more, your weight is still gonna be over to the side. Like your hips are not gonna be stacked on top of your arm. And that was probably the biggest thing you can see here is day number 1, my hips are not stacked over the correct shoulder. And day number 30, it looks a lot more like a straight line of my weight distribution. And something you can't really see too well from this angle is the fact that I'm not twisted nearly as much. I definitely felt a lot more comfortable here. I will say the amount of attempts it took every time to actually get these clips definitely made me feel more comfortable going into the one-arm handstand and just holding a regular straddle handstand in the first place. So overall, technique significantly improved, although I think I still have a lot of work to do. I would say time was a realistic improvement in 30 days. You know, I went from not being able to hold it pretty much at all to having about 2 to 3 seconds of air time. Now I'm not counting this as an actual learn, of course. I'm not gonna go out and say I can do a one-arm handstand just because I can hold it for a second. Pretty much anybody can do that. I would say I need to be able to do this for about 10 seconds to actually claim that I learned how to do a one-arm handstand. I think that is the goal. Whether or not we get to it this year, I don't know. All right, so just like the handstand push-up video, I'm gonna give you guys my top 3 tips of how I would go about doing this progression again if I had to start it over for anyone else out there interested in learning the one-arm handstand. All right, tip number 1, you're definitely gonna wanna have a comfortable handstand. That should go without saying. When I say comfortable, I mean you're very comfortable kicking up and down from the handstand. You can basically hold it most of the time when you kick up. You can do shapes with your legs, like the straddle primarily. Tip number 2, definitely go slow, okay? You are not gonna make any progress if you just try to hold a one-arm handstand every single time. Like if every single day you go out and you try to kick up into a handstand and immediately go into the one arm, you're probably not gonna make much progress. It's a lot better to work on the slower progressions. And again, that's something I kind of learned from my last progression video. I do think that it helped me quite a bit here, especially to understand the technique and the weight shifting. And tip number 3, I'm gonna say, of course, be patient. Don't necessarily rush yourself like I'm doing in this video. This is for the sake of making content for people to enjoy watching or get some sort of reference from. In an ideal world, you wouldn't be trying to cram all of your training in a 30-day window. You'd be okay with the fact it's gonna go up and down, and just take your time and enjoy the ride. A couple other helpful hints: definitely make use of the wall, guys, especially if you're having a hard time twisting out of your handstand. That'll help give you some feedback as to when you start twisting and what direction you need to keep your hips facing. And also use YouTube as a great resource. There's a lot of pro athletes out there who give great strategies on the progressions like I was talking about. I really like my heel lifts, the leg sways, progressing up to your fingertips on those. That's all great stuff. So definitely make use of the internet. So if you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful at all, be sure to give it a like, because I put a lot of time and effort and tears into making this. Also comment down below what 30-day challenge you think I should try next. I've been doing a lot of calisthenics focused things recently, but I'm willing to do whatever. So let me know in the comments, and thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a good one, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.